Hello everybody, welcome back to the Artisan of Glimmith. Let's jump in. 111 solved. It doesn't say of how many or what this is as a percentage, but certainly doesn't feel like I've already done 111 puzzles. As our little floating island floats in. So, we have a couple of puzzles we haven't done, but I'm happy circling back to those later. For now, I believe we need to do this puzzle to unlock the way ahead. So, each region contains exactly one of each symbol, and the Geminis have to have the same shape on the opposing side. Difficulty 4, but the first puzzle I've done of the day, so... What do we know for sure? Well, this has to come out to here, to there. That has to be a shape, I believe, because this region needs one red and one blue, and there's no other way to get to a blue from this red. Now this piece has to be the same shape as this. How can I do that? Can I do that? This would then have to match to that. I mean, it could be this. Yeah, that's fine. So this is a 222, this is a 222. That's fine. And let's do that shift click to outline those with borders. Now, this can't be that because it leaves the vacant space there. So it has to be this. Or possibly this. But that can't be matched here. So I think that is going to match to there. Then this and this are in a group together. That can presumably be absorbed into that group there eventually. That's a pair. That's a pair. Because we can't extend that group out any further than it is. Alright. This shape here is equal to this shape here, which means this cannot join to that or that, so those must be in a region together. This has to come to at least here, because it can't have the second region there. It could hypothetically come across, but we can't match that shape to this. How on earth? Oh, okay. I was thinking, how on earth do we stretch this out to get to a red? But I don't think we do. I think we do blue, blank, red, blank, blue, red. Then this comes up 1, 2, 3, 4. This goes up 1, 2, 3, 4. That can take the rest of that space. Nothing broken about the rules so far. That's got to come out to there. It's either going to go down or across. Don't know which yet. Those are different regions. We have a lot of red on the left and blue on the right. We just have to kind of pair everything off now. Well, let's just think about this a second. If this red were on this this red would have to go all the way to this blue, or this blue, which leaves that red encased. But we can't do a 5 long line on one side of this Gemini and do another 5 long line on the other. So, therefore, that must be a group, I believe. How are we going to get this red to a blue, though? It would have to be that. Lovely. Complete the final puzzle in the market area. And as suspected, if this was the market, I guess this could be a neighborhood, perhaps. And look at that. There's all that over there still to see. I can see through thin clouds. Stuff at the back. There's all this. So plenty more puzzling ahead. You love to see it. What do we have here? Polyominoes depict the shape of its region. Now this is very reminiscent of The Witness. Certainly had some of this. Precision. All regions must have exactly an area of 4. Interesting. Well, the big thing here is that we must do that because we can't drag this onto either side of that, which gives us this. Right, which of those do I prefer as a region? Because I think I should commit to one direction. Do we have windows around? There's this one here and that one there. So this is going out to the left, this one's going out to the right. There's another window there. Is there something at the end of this region? Looks like this one, perhaps. Though nothing for me to kind of click on and get lore or instruction so far, that I can see at least. Alright, let's go in this direction. That just follows simple rules. Well, that has to be a 2x2. Here's a question. Can this exist? Because they're both within a 4x4 long. Yes. Yes, they can. Huh? Okay. Negative space can exist in its own window. Good to know. How do we do this T-shape? Like that. That's a gimme. And now we break out into this whole space. I'm assuming this blue one suggests a new mechanic over here. Mingle shape. Neighboring regions must have different shapes. Yeah, we'll worry about that later. You don't need to place whole shapes at once. It can be useful to color an incomplete part of a shape. So that has to go to 2, that has to go to 2, and that has to go to 2. Which means this has to go that way. Lock that in. And then these can just go in their respective rotations. You tricked me on the end there. There's several hanging out down through here. There's a bunch, in fact. There's even one right down there. Hiding away. There's 2 more down there as well. Can't zoom in any further than this, so I can't zoom in through this hole. That's all right. Let's go to you here, hiding around the back. Start there, because it can't go into the region of this Z piece. Simple stuff. It's nice when your brain just gels with a mechanic immediately. This one we're just going on a little walk around the region. Beautiful. Any more up on the surface level that isn't just these three? Oh gosh. Well, they can share regions. They can't all share the same region, but they can share regions. So we can do that. I believe we can do that. That one was quite evident to me immediately, which is always nice. Nothing else on the surface apart from these three. Let's do these three then, I suppose. That takes us to 13. Right. This is 5 wide, but we don't know which end it gets to yet. This is going to have to be here, which puts that there, that there, that there, this here. So that can protrude to there and to there. Fill in the gaps. This is the only asymmetrical component in the puzzle. Because this could be this, or it could be that. So, where can this exist? Oh, it's not the only asymmetrical component. This empty square is asymmetrical as well. So, we'll use that. I'm trying to just not start colouring and to find logic somewhere along the line, but it's so simple. It doesn't feel like I had to break in with logic there. This is a 3 by 4, so it could either be this or this. So it means that that and that must be true, which means that is a given. This can't exist here because it blocks that in. So this must exist on at least those, and therefore that. This needs at least this, which means this must have that. Except that can't be true. Because if that's true, how does this get its 2 by 2? Where did I lose my logic here? This is either going to be that or that. We can kind of cheat its options by looking at that, which means that's a given. This can't go up, so it must go left or right. It feels like then this shape will become to here because there's no other location that is required to use these 2 tiles. Which means this has the option of going left. Which means this goes up. But what I don't understand about this is how this becomes its 3 by 3. Oh, I did it. I see where I went wrong. This is actually my mistake, was thinking that this didn't have to go here, whereas it can when we get to there. Now, I got there through a mistake, but I'm not going to break myself up for not using exact logic on every puzzle. That's fine. Right, there wants 7 more of these now. There's one there. There's at least 4, 5 down there. 6, 7. Okay, there's a bunch down there. Let's start the ones not down the hole. This has to have at least those, and then the 5th is either going to be here or here. This needs a 4 by 4 with a 3. And we can't go up for the 3, so the 4 must be that way. Which means this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with this. Which means this is going to be this, and that does not work. This can't be 5 tall. So at 5 wide, it must consume these, and then 1 on each side. Well, this could do that and leave the open space up top. I was forgetting that I can kind of flip and rotate this in whatever orientation I like. That leaves this and this. Good. 14 of 20. We saw you already. They've easily like hid one right there. That would have been extra sneaky. Is there one here? Or is it on the underside somewhere? It's that one. Oh, it is a polyomino one. It's just hiding really off the beaten path, huh? That's fun. 1, 3, 4, 6 is very amusing. My immediate thought is this. But that doesn't leave enough room, I think, for the 6, because the 6 needs to be 5 long somewhere along its length. So that would leave the 1 possibly going this way. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can't do that. Going to come down to where can we fit the 6 in, I think. Because this could be the tip. But of course we can rotate as well. The longest line off of this 6 is a 5. That's the only other way I think the 3 can realistically exist. But the 4 can't go across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, that's too tall. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, doesn't accommodate the 6. For a 3 difficulty puzzle, this one feels like it gives quite a tough in for logic. This can't be 5 long. So for the 4, I mean, the 5 long could be there. But that doesn't leave enough room for the 3 now. Though I like this insertion of the 6 and the 9. Sorry, the 6 and the 4 to use up the center space of this. But again, that's not really kind of logic. That's just pseudo brute forcing it along, I think. We can't do this, obviously. It's in the 4 and this ends up in the center of the 6. I don't see an obvious start to this one. Let's show what we know from here. This either has these and one more, or these and one more. So this is going to have some part of those two. And then it can go up 2 more, or up 1 more and down 1 more, left 2 more, left 1 more, right 1 more. So that is defined. The 3 can go all the way over. But it can't go further to the right. I should just press R at that point, shouldn't I? Can I kind of turn this upside down? Not really. Oh, I can. I can flip it. There you go. So turning this all the way around to a H was the move I couldn't see. That was down there. Which then was the mote of light I could see rising up from the ground there. These guys have their own little refractive windows. Any more before we go in the big hole? I don't think so. Oh, there's you right there. That's cute. This one's just following instructions. Yeah, he could have easily have missed you, thinking your moat was from somewhere lower down. That puts us at 16 of 20 for just the silver, not the gold. Well, I believe that must be this. For a start, then that's going to have to come up. That's going to have to be that. That goes to there. This is going to have to be that. Therefore, that is going to have to be this. That's going to be that. And this is just this. All regions must be one of these shapes. Oh. Oh, we have more rules now. Okay. Reset me. You are that shape. You are that shape. You are that shape. Okay, that can go over. Then that can go over. That can go over. And then we just get a bunch of 3s and... Yeah, okay. Just had to notice the extra rules in play. 5, a 1. Easy. Because we had to use these 2 shapes. A couple of 2s here. All regions must be one of these shapes. Well, this cross then has to be that. Therefore, that and that and that and that have to go together. Now, we could have a bigger cross here, but that has to be a bigger cross. Therefore, 2 and a big cross there. This could go to here. if it went to here, we can't fill that gap in. So I'm happy with this. Lovely. All must have 2s and 3s. There's a 3. There's another 3. That has to be a 2. Except how do we fill this gap in? Like that. Just like that. Good. Oh, we've gained this thing here. That wasn't there a moment ago, was it? Obstructing my view of these other puzzles. There's a 5 down there, a 3 there, 4 there. Let's do this 3. GG's. Good game, well played. My first suspicion is that the long top bar of these two shapes are going to have to necessitate being in the negative space of the other one. So this is 5 by 5. So this would be that, except this can't take that space. Also can't take that space. So can I do 2 of them and meld them together? Is my real question. Well, this has to be part of a 5 by 5, right? And therefore, I think the middle 2, I think this has to be part of the center. And the center has to be offset by enough because I don't think this can be the long piece. Because if this is 5, we don't have 5 to the right or 5 to the left to make this or this be a corner. So maybe they exist as the same then, because we can't go 5 tall and wide twice. So it just comes down to where can we make a G that this is both of them. Where can we make that G? Leaving the 2s left alone. Obviously. I just need to flip or rotate it in a way that I currently haven't yet. That was 5 long. It would have to be the tip. We can't go 5 long elsewhere. Can't be that. I wish I could pick this whole thing up and just kind of tessellate it around until it fits. You know? I feel like this should be the simplest thing in the world. Huh. 5 longs on the end. Okay, that's good. That's good logic I hadn't thought about. The 5 longs on the end can't be existing of dominoes. I definitely don't have room to make 2 of these, right? Oh, we just flip it upside down from how it was. And then the 5s get their volume. This has to come up to here, because it will either be this or this. Which means that and that are of the same colour. We just don't know where the branch is yet. There's only 2 ways that this can exist, which would be that, which blocks this off from existing. So it has to be that, which gives that the ability to exist there. This can't go... Oh, it can go that way. Yeah. Doesn't leave enough room for this to exist. Where do you exist then? Let's step back, challenge our biases a second. This can't exist there. This could either go here, but there's no way to get that out. So this must exist here, which means that is on this horseshoe, which I hadn't considered at all, but makes total sense. Fill in the gaps. Lovely. Right, how are we doing? We have our silver. We need 9 more for gold. Oh, a bunch have appeared up on the surface that definitely weren't here a second ago. That's the new mechanic onto the left. But this is new. Now, this can only exist there. There's nowhere else that I can make that shape without intruding. That doesn't feel right, because this can't exist now. Is there any other way to make this shape without intruding? That way. This doesn't have to be at the terminus of the shape, of course. That's going to be that. That's going to be that. That's going to be that. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3 with this. You get that. 1, 2, 3 and that. Fill those in. Easy one. Oh my. Well. They can share regions, of course. Now, that's the obvious thing you want to do, but it could easily be that or something similar, so let's colour in the things that we know must be true. So that has to go that way around. We have to get both of these as long edges, so it has to be that, which means that has to have a long edge and that has to have a long edge. How do we colour in everything else in regions? Well, it would have to be this, that, fill in the negative space. What's this at? 25 of 31. Okay. Let's do this 4. Everything must be an L or a big square, and there is this one big square that exists here. Now, this big square can either exist here, here, or here. And we know it can't be this, because the negative space inside doesn't allow us to play that. So the negative... Oh, it could go here as well. So we know it can't go there. Therefore... which ones of these must be coloured? If this is going left, it's that and that. If it's going right, it's not that. If it's going down, so it's just the one which doesn't help us there. Well, we can only use the 2 shapes. So every one of these that we make is going to have one of those inside of it. Can't be this one because it blocks off this. So in fact we can do that and that to denote that these will be tiny L's that stick out of these spaces. Something similar is true up here. This must be part of a tiny L, and it has to be either this or this. Well, because if this was to exist, we can't do a shape across the top. So this one must therefore, I believe, be this. And then the rest is likely to just be filling out with L's, the whole thing. If this goes down, there, 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 there. There, 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 yep. What do we decide? That, 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 that. Good. What else is hiding down here? A 4? Everything must be lines or hooks. This cannot go up and down, so it either has to go that way, which it could, because that, but then this doesn't have a L shape it can make. If that makes an L shape, this can't make an L shape, so that has to be a straight line. That has to be there, that has to be there, which means that's forced onto that. This can be 3 and a corner. Then that can't be a straight line because we end... Oh, it could do that, except that means those can't go. So that has to be a hook. Hook, straight line, hook, straight line, straight line. Good. So 5, 4, 6, 3, and a 2. What's that one? That's a 5. How am I supposed to see you from somewhere else, perhaps? Is it that one? It is that one. That's a very sneaky place to put that one. Oh, I can see like a bunch of them from down here as well. There's the 5, the 4. There's the 5, the 4. There's a 3 here. I love just the... I know it's not spot the difference, it's kind of the hidden object game of just exploring the map. It makes it so wonderfully kind of tactile, interactive, I don't know. Right, well, that exists like that. And this is either that with a cap on that end or a cap on that end. But this is 5, so that goes up there, which means that has to be that, that has to be that. That can just be a region. Except, no? This is 5. I was wrong. This can be this or this. And then that can be there as well. So whatever logic I was using down there was wrong. This is either that or that. Which leaves that going up and that going in. That down, that down, that down. Okay, it can't go up. Because if this goes across, that has to go down, that has to go down. There's no way to put a 4 along here. Therefore, this has to go across, that goes up, that goes across. For 5. That's a 1. That has to be a 4, that has to be a 3. That has to go down so that that can come across. Good. 2. Must be so. That has to be a 3 that goes down because it can't go across. That has to be a 3 that goes up. We can have regions of 1 in the remaining space. No problem. 29 of 31. And how many puzzles do I see left here? Did that one. The 6, the 4, that 5, and that 5 right over there. Alright, give me the 4. How can you exist in any of this space? Feels like it has to be that. But it could also be that. So, that doesn't help me immediately. This can either go here or there. This has to either go left or right. This can't have a 2 that goes through it, but it could be there. But that blocks this from existing. So I think the 3 long has to go here. To that and that. Good. Like, a puzzle like that will be presented as a 4. And it's so interesting how sometimes I'll struggle a little bit more on a 2 and a 3 than a 4 that I will just completely sail through. Right, is it just 3 more puzzles here? I need 1 more. Is that 5? That 5. Is that the same? Oh, there's a different 5 than this one. So there's that 5, that 5. Where is this other one? I swear we saw it from like way back out here somewhere. Is it this one? Maybe? I mean, if they're all 5s, I shouldn't get too hung up on trying to pick the perfect one to start with. Should I? Oh my. Everything is 3s except this. So. The rest of the grid is 6 by 6. This takes up one of the 3, so those 2 must be independent regions of their own because of counting. Therefore, that goes up straight, that comes across, that comes across, that goes up straight, that goes up straight. See, for a 5, that seemed too simple, but that's just because we counted how much negative space had to exist, and then that gave us our in very quickly. There is our restoration progression 31. But we're still in the zone. We've got some puzzles left in the region. See, this is a 5, but where we begin seems far less of a given here. So this could be this, could be that, could be this, could be that, could be that. So that doesn't seem to help. There's our inn. That must exist in that corner there. So that can go over or across. How can this T exist? Well, it can go right or up or left. It can't go down. It can't go up or left because that traps this in. So the long of the T must go that way. That gives us that too. Therefore, this can't go this way. Must go that way. Gives us this 2 and then empty space. This 3 can't go to the side, so that's that with 2. If that hooks over, that does have enough room to put the rest in. I like this most just because it keeps it to the edge. Now, this can't work because we no longer have a 4 long to put in here. So, I was happy up to here. Where's the logic out from this? This can either go this way or this way. Oh, this needs to be 4 long and can't go down to be 4 long anymore. So this has to be the 2, which means that's locked in. Go left, or it can go right. No, it can't go left. It has to go right, so because it's 4 long. That doesn't seem right, because now these guys are blocked in. Oh. Again, it's my own thinking that this had to have its tip over here when it could shift the whole thing over. Is doing that. Right, 2 more, I believe. I can't see a mote of light for the one that was hiding down the right-hand side here, but we know it's there. It's you. I see a mote of light shining through anything to suggest you're there? Not really. That's fine. Right, well, that must exist like that. That must exist like that. That's a start. Hopefully we can do this one and the 6th difficulty all within this video and have it as a nice contained unit for the area. Right. Do we have logic that remains from here? I'm looking for 3s like this 3. Can't go left to right, so it must go up and down. But there's nothing to... Oh, okay. No. There's nothing to suggest that it can't do that. Because then that could go across if it wanted to. No, it couldn't. Okay. That can't go across, because if this comes down, that guy gets stuck. Now, that means... Does this have to go out left? Or can it come to the right? Right, that leaves this unable to go anywhere. So therefore, we really did that poorly, didn't we? I think this has to go to here. But again, feels like bad logic because we just kind of diverted down a path, found the wrong answer, and then came back to get towards the right answer. But hey, we're here. Oh. Well, this doesn't seem right either, because now this can't go left or right. Alright, stop just colouring in. Find the logic. You must be that, you must be that. This can't go left. So this has to be those, and either that one or that one. I didn't see that bit of logic earlier. So this has to be this and this, and either that one or that one, depending on whether these go down together or up together, or one goes down, one goes up. But those must exist. Now, what we also know is that the puzzle has a unique solution per the rules of the game. So this space on the left, I feel like, has to be done in a way in which either this is going to go up, up, and down, or it's going to go right, right, and up. But if this was right and that was up, this here could do that or that. Either would be available as a possible solution, and that's not allowed. The solution must be unique. And therefore, using that logic, this must be this way around. Now, that's not a piece of logic we use very often, but it's a very valid one, I think. So now, my gut tells me that we're going to do this because we want to use the negative space on the left to enable the stuff on the right to be made with more options. But again, that's not true logic. That's just my gut saying, here's how I feel like the right side of the puzzle must have room to breathe, so we'll use the left-hand side of the puzzle as a priority. If this were to go up, that would go up, that would come down, that would come down. That would come down. It's this guy here deciding whether it has to go left or right or not with logic is something I'm not seeing super well. If you go down, you can go up. You can come down, you can come down. You can go across, you can go across, you can go across. This section here has to have a unique solution. And if it's this, we can do that or that. If it's this, we can do that or that. And the exterior space is equal. And therefore, neither of these can be the solution as they are. Therefore, that must go up to force this to have an orientation. So that's correct. I still think that means this is going to end up coming left. This can go up or down, that can go across or across further. Just trying to see if anything has other limitations now. Doesn't seem like it. If this goes this way, the other option would be this way. That doesn't seem helpful. I really just want to do that. Because if this comes out even this much, it limits how this can go up and down, how this can go up and down. And how far that goes across. So this just feels most correct. And I've said it before, I don't love the vibes-based puzzle solving, but sometimes the logic exists in such a way. Oh, we get screwed over here again. How? How do we get you to fit in somewhere? This is what I get for going on vibes, isn't it? This still doesn't work. Because of you. I don't want to reset because of the stuff that I'm happy with on the right, which was up to here. I need a logical move to get me out of here, assuming that everything that I have right now is correct. Now, I could press the check progress button, but I don't want to do that. Alright, well, I'm going to go give my dog his lunch, give Goose something to eat, and then we'll come back to this with slightly fresh eyes. Alright, Goose is fed. Still reasonably happy with these two corners. Those have to be contained, and then this can either go up one or down one. This goes down, this goes up, this goes across. Well, we got it. Just working off of these verticals and threes over here, but I kind of really well solved the left side and then vibed the right, but it's fine. So we got this 6. Anything else I'm missing down here? Not that I can see. Right then, let's tackle this 6. Goodness. Where's our in on the logic? Must be these 3 shapes. T can either be that or that. or that. So there's nothing about that that says we must start with stuff that is coloured or not. This could be this, this could be this. All shapes must be these. And Goose has just rung the bell to go back outside again. Hold on. As I was just saying, all regions must be these shapes. And so that gives us limited ability to pack this area, because we can't just have random extra bits. So how can we pack this with what we have? Can't do this because that's not allowed. We can do that. That seems like the only way that's immediately obvious to put those shapes into this space without having random gaps. So I like that for a start. And then we kind of have the same problem in these 4 other regions before dealing with the shapes. So these are all 4 big. 4, 4, 4, and 1. So I think that has to do this, because then that allows the rest of the space to divide into 4s. And so therefore that must be this. I don't know if this logic is correct, but I like this logic. So this space is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11, 12. So this has to have 2 on the inside and 2 on the outside, which could be this. Is there a world where it can be the other way around? No, because it leaves this square vacant. So I like that, which means this can be a T. That can be that. Goose is asked to go out again, but it's raining. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I think we end up with... not this, hold on, I can't count. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's 2 4s and a 1. No, it's not. It's 2 4s and a 3. Which is that. How does this space then fill out the rest? Well, this doesn't have to go down. This can go up. Except I can't do a 2 by 2 like this. I can't do a T like that. I can't do a T like this. So I think down was closer to correct. Oh, it's this. $31 plus 3, and we gained the value of counting. There's that one there, but that's going to be for this mirror, or window rather. I don't think there are any more puzzles for this section. I think we got them all, at least that I can see. I don't know if there'll be a way at the end of the game to go back and double check if you indeed did miss something. But I think that is going to be all for today. Next time we'll probably end up going down this path here. For now, thank you so much for watching. Hit that like button, subscribe for more. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.